Hi, everybody. Boy, I don't know when this thing's on halftime. Um, I just got out of the shower and I had all these thoughts coming through my head. And I thought, okay, I think I'm just going to describe it and show people. Okay, remember, as above, so below, as above. Now, oops, here's sticking up. So, whatever's happening up above, it's happening below. So, me, you, whatever. So, when we go as above, so let's look above. We have the moon as a projector. The moon as a projector. My eyes are projecting. My mind's eye is projecting out. My voice is projecting out. I can hear things in and out. So, like if you got a regular projector that you're putting on a screen, you've got all the functioning things to it, right? You got these beaming out onto it, right, into our reality. So my eyes are beaming out, creating my reality. So that's why whatever we're thinking, feeling, sensing, everything gets projected out into our world. Our mind's eye is projecting out. It says in Scripture, God is visible and invisible. So his eyes are visible and invisible. Okay, so now go down to the chest area. Okay, oops, let me get the phone right. So my solar plexus, right? So we got do, re, mi, right? So mi, fa, sew is what I'm sewing, into the world, into the fabric, right? So the four corners of the earth. So it looks like a fabric or a page in time. Now, what's being here is being projected here, but it looks like a box. So what I was seeing in my mind is you got Islam that has this square box. It's like a big TV box, or perhaps the Borg, like a big cube in the sky. So above and below. So perhaps we're in this cube, kind of like a holodeck, space and time. So while we're picturing that the moon is projecting onto the earth, so when we're up above in the air, we can see the projection of it, right? And we can, from when we're born into this world, opening our eyes, we're already part of the system. We're part of the program. Let's see here. So the sun is my soul, my solar plexus, me. So my soul is powering up my heart, because our body is the time machine. Because remember, below our waistline is Hades. So my father's snake, his DNA goes into my mother's wormhole. My mother's wormhole rolls down a stone called the egg. So we'll call it my father's sword, goes into the stone. A big bang in the universe created everything. So created this fetus. Now this fetus is born in a water world, like a fish, like a Christ, like a Pisces, and two, right? So if you look at the Pisces sign, it goes like this, and it connects them both. So this showing like a Christ. So above the waistline is heaven, below it is Hades to hell, right? We have two directions we can go. It's, again, in our thinking. So when it goes to the worshiping Christ, it's the Christ within. Because when the child comes out of the mother's womb, mother and child, when the child comes out of the mother's womb, it's kicked out on dry land and severed from the mother. So now it's a priest, right? You got the male priest and priestesses. So that's probably where they get the high priest and high priestesses when they get to a certain level. But we're all the men are born a priest, and the the females are born priestesses. So, but we look at it as king and queens, but we are that as well. I'm the king of my castle. My castle is my body. A queen the same way. But when in our reality, you'll see it on Facebook. With all due respect, there's certain um, races out there that they all think that they're kings and queens, but they wear the royalty and everything. But then on the world stage, you have them picked by the program or God, the energetic part for the world stage of who's playing who, right, on the world stage. And since I am projecting, you're projecting, I am projecting because I'm part of the program of the moon, right? So we look at the moon as this giant projector, as above, so below. So whatever it's projecting, I can see. That's why I can see when the sun or the moon goes out of sight. Because I was like thinking, how am I still able to project if the moon's out? Well, it's the antenna, the dragon energy, the Christ within us. It's like a giant antenna that's a beacon to the projector. So that's why you hear them saying, I landed on the moon and I've done this and stuff like that. They can't land on the moon. It's a big giant projector. And that's why I think they make up all this crap, is to try to get people saying, oh, we're going out in space. So now it got me thinking about Jupiter with all the moons. Well, Jupiter is giant, right? And it has all different kinds of moons. Well, what was coming to my mind is that all those moons are different projectors. They're different projectors of different dimensions. It's like they're laying over each other. So perhaps there's people there or entities there or beings there that are being projected just like we are in this reality. So I think that's very interesting. Because the sun is representing the power, keeping the light on. It's like the power source. So the sun is down here, right? It's like a square house. So if you see a lighthouse out along the beach, along the land, you'll see a big tall lighthouse, right? But then it has right next to it a small square building with four corners. So it's kind of interesting. This is the generator that's projecting what we're seeing and experiencing in life. And it is our senses, our six senses, our five senses, right, that get us around. And then our tuning. Like I was saying, I can stand right here and the frequency is kind of low, but if I turn this way, it'll go louder in my left ear and not so much over here. So it's like, also when I was mentioning meditation, when I'm, in meditation, if I turn a certain way, I'm kind of like a pendulum. I'll either go this way, being pulled back and forth, or I'll if I'm sitting the other way, I'll be pulled this way. It's very interesting. So it's like you can feel that down the center of your body, there's like this rod, this iron rod, if you will. And of course, down the center of our body is the dragon energy. It's the AI system. A right here. And then the I goes straight down to our waistline, the AI system. My Father and I, Lord Jesus is the heart, Mother, so it's like Mother Earth, Mother and Son, that kind of like thing. And then it's like our neck is like a pedestal or a stand for the projector screen. It's so interesting when we look at as above, so within, or as above, so below, as above. So we're like a bunch of walking beacons, you know, by the moon. Everything is controlled by the moon, being reflected by the moon. And then, of course, like I said, the sun is what's our solar plexus. It's our soul. It's powering us up. So I think it's things like this that we need to know and realize that people are out, worshiping Christ, which I'm not going to change that reality of theirs. But because, I was there too, but I didn't know until I started going through life and researching and looking and constantly learning. And then, of course, seeing all the images and stuff coming on my body. And then I'm seeing in my mind's eye that the moon is a projector. And then my head's the projector because my eyes are projecting out and my mind's eye is projecting out. My voice is projecting out. I have the five dog senses and the sixth sense, right? The intuition, that gut feeling, right? So remember, I was talking about the Egyptian pyramids, Giza. So we got the solar plexus for the big one. You can even kind of see a triangle right there forming. And then the heart, there's another eye. So I think it's right there. There's the eye to that pyramid. There's the eye to that pyramid. And I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there's an eye. I think it's right there. There's another big eye on this kind of pyramid up there. Oh, maybe it's right there. But it's interesting. It's like when you discover these things and you talk about them, next thing you know, it seems like they just appear. It's kind of like solving a mystery, a puzzle. Like it seems like in a video game, once you solve or figure something out, next thing you know, it's like it's being shown to you in some way. It's kind of like you've made it to another level or something compared to everybody else who can't see or have they're using their mind in that way or solving the parables, like I was saying that we're born in sin, that parable. So sin is our below the waistline is our privates, and that's what, goes in and out. And that's considered Hades down. So we're born in sin, but sin is like a sine wave, like ups and downs, like the merry-go-round. And then you've got sine is time, like a grandfather time clock, which I don't know how well we can see it, but I was trying to show it yesterday how it looks like. Oh, I think you can still see it. It looks like the top of a house right there, but there's also a king right there next to that woman. And this, I think, is a black cat, but there's also a person in there as well. And then here, I was showing you that on my chest, all around this eye is like, I don't know how many of them. They're just loaded with all these little people just lined up all around this person that's right there. Because that's a bigger person, but these are all a bunch of little people lined up all around them. And I got to thinking, I wonder if that's representing the Christ is returning. Because remember, God marks this as well. He marks his people, the same time as the world stage is marking their people, right? And that's why in Revelations, the last chapter, it says, don't try to change them, let them go their way. When they call out my name, I won't know them. And it's because of our personal relationship. It's so interesting. And it's probably a big trick with a lot of people too, because they're too busy looking outside and not seeing that they are the Christ. The Christ is born within them. So it's inside them. God is inside them, and they're out worshiping and bowing down to the land. That's another thing too. Christ is always shown as he's prayed looking up, like, he's praying up the Father. They always tell us in church, bow your head and pray. So they're bowing down to Hades and praying, but they're lifting their hands and singing and praising to God. So remember, you can't serve two gods. So I can't serve here and I can't serve here. So I've got to figure out, and the reason for that parable is to keep our chi, keep our candle lit. Because, usually if you start serving the other guy, a couple of times, and it kind of gets, addictive, sexual, and then, it just gets a little bit out of hand. And then we forget and we lose track. So I think it's more of a thing about directing humanity, like control that kind of area down there. And focus on here, focus on what you're projecting, focus in heaven. And so, anyway, I hope you guys loved that. I know I was chatting a lot, but anyway, so let's try to see if we can see anything else. I've got to go make a couple of copies, and then I'm going to go try to see how far I can finish in my book because I'm on chapter 12. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Friday.